What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and you all know how much I love this data set. So today we're going to be looking at the top 10 cards that exchanged hands the most on TCG Player last month. But this video is leveled up. The content is leveled up. The data is leveled up because, God love them, TCG Player has leveled up the information that they send us. Now, you know how excited I get whenever we get to look behind the curtains and kind of see what's going on behind the scenes at websites as big as TCG Player. Like, their breadth and depth of Pokemon card exchanging and buying and selling is unlike any other, second only to eBay. And even though eBay owns TCG Player, they still operate as independent subsidiaries. So, with all that being said, the information that I have used for this video in the past is much better now. They actually break it down into cards that have exchanged hands the most on their site, over $50 and under $50. And not only that, now instead of just giving us the top 10 of each, they give us the top 50. So this video is absolutely full of awesome information, and we can go to a level of detail that we haven't in the past. Now, if you've been watching this video series for a while, you know how this works. But what I'll do is I'll go over the top 10 cards that exchanged hands the most on TCG Player last month. All of them are over $50, but I will also show you the price graph for how the card has been moving as of late. And in addition, I have this cool system where I will show you the number of stars, which will represent the number of consecutive months that a card has been on this list, because that's incredibly important too. If a card has been on this list for 5, 10, 15 months in a row or something crazy like that, obviously the market is feverish over that card. And I will also show you a graph for the sealed product that the product or the card is coming from. So if it comes from, say, just an Elite Trainer box, a specialty set like 151, I will show you the Pokemon Center exclusive ETB price. Or if it comes from a booster box, obviously I will show you the booster box price, because all of that put together paints this big, beautiful Pokemon collecting picture, which brings it all together. And I'm really, really excited. We've done this for a long time, and I am pumped. Now, I will say this. Because we have a new data set, I started the star system over last month. So the most you will see is 2 consecutive months. But guess what? Over half of this list has been on here back-to-back months, which is really exciting. I love seeing cards that have the kind of wherewithal to exchange hands as much as they do on TCG Player, not just for 1 month, but for multiple months in a row. So with that being said, we always start off with one thing. We always look at the cards that have come off the list, because what's on the list is important, but what's off the list is equally important. And as I said, 5 cards are on here again from last month, but that meant 5 cards fell off. And believe it or not, the number 1 card last month, that Raging Bolt card, guess what? It went from number 1 last month to out of the top 10, falling down to number 12. Now, again, the thing that I'm so excited about this data set is in the past, it would have just disappeared. But now that we have the top 50 movers, we can actually see that this didn't just disappear. This actually dropped from 1 to 12. So, hey, listen, it's out of the top 10, but it's still sitting there nipping at the heels. And then that Carmine card right there, the trainer came out, the big chase, well, not the big chase card, but one of the big chase cards from Twilight Masquerade. Last month was in at number 4. Dropped down to number 11. And then we got a couple playability cards, right? Teal Mask Ogerpon and Buddy Buddy Poffin, right? Those were at number 5 and number 8 last month, and both of them are outside of the top 50. Now, Raging Bolt is a card that popped off because it did really well in a tournament, but guess what? It is also a stunning piece of artwork, and I think that's why that one has been able to stay in the top 50, while the other 2 are gone altogether. And then one of the cards that I have been obsessed about ever since, you know, the set came out is the Crown Zenith Mewtwo V-Star right there. Last month it was at number 10. Love to see that it's still in the top 15, only falling 3 spots to number 13. So really cool to see the cards that have come off. And before I get into the list of cards that are on here, as I always say, hey, listen, if you enjoy this type of content, we do fun stuff like this all the time. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, why don't you go ahead and do that? If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. And if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I've got a small channel here. Those 3 small things go a long way in helping me out. Lets me know you appreciate the work that I put in. So with all that out of the way, let's start looking at these cards, because I'm telling you, this list of top 10s are absolutely stunners from top to bottom. So coming in at number 10 is this Blood Moon Ursaluna card from Twilight Masquerade. And I said this a couple videos ago. I said, for whatever reason, and I know it doesn't make any sense, but for whatever reason, the artwork on here kind of reminds me of the Sleepy T-Tar. Now, this one started off all the way at $100. It has dropped down to $50, what we typically see. But I do think that in the long run, I know that there's some playability with this card, but I do think that the artwork on this is really cool. And I think that this is a very beautiful card. And Twilight Masquerade has slowly crept its way up into one of my absolute favorite sets from the Scarlet and Violet era. When I did my first analysis of it, I said, hey, I really like that Greninja. Like, I really liked the Eevee card. There were a couple cards on there that I really liked, but as a set as a whole, I wasn't quite sure of. Guess what? It is creeping its way up to the very top, and I think it's absolutely awesome. Now you'll see that the booster box is reflecting the fact that a lot of people like it too. Most of the times when a new set comes out, right, those booster boxes are in the high $90 range for a very long time. Well, this booster box dropped down into the low hundreds, and it's actually been working its way up a little bit. The booster boxes are going for about $110 each, which is absolutely insane for a brand new set that comes out in the ultra modern space. So really interesting price movement on the booster box, and again, I really like the artwork on this card. Now, coming in at number 9 is a card I have talked about ad nauseum. I love the artwork on this Iron Crown EX from Temporal Forces. I think it is absolutely awesome. We've seen it do a couple different pops and flops throughout the last 6 months or 5 months, if you will. It's been on the list for 2 months in a row, but to be honest with you, if I were to extend this out and go back beyond when we had our old data sets, this card has been on the list a lot ever since Temporal Forces dropped. And again, this is another where we're seeing the booster box still well under the $100 mark, but you're starting to see that booster box tail up a little bit ever since February, where it was in like the $90 range. It's working its way back up to $95. So again, plenty of time to buy these booster boxes. I just bought a sealed case of it last month. I think it's a great long-term buy and hold, but I really like this card, and I think that this card in the $59, $60 range is kind of well priced. So we'll see how it shapes up here in the future. Lots more Temporal Forces to be opened, as we all know. Coming in at number 8, another one from Twilight Masquerade, the Perrin card right here. Like, trainers just don't have the oomph that they did, I don't know, 8 or 9 months ago when we went through this big frothy trainer pump, right? Trainers were going through the roof, like all of the excitement from the Japanese side of things were coming over to the English version. I think a lot of people didn't realize that in Japanese they're much rarer. They actually have a much better print quality, like the depth of the cards are totally on a different level. It's just different over there. So now we're starting to see these English trainer cards come back down to earth a little bit. I love the artwork on this. I love that it's a sister card to that Growlithe, right? I love Twilight Masquerade. I think that's going to be a big set. So there's a lot of things going for it. I do not love it at the $75 price point. I do think that even though this has been on here 2 months in a row, I think we're going to see this card come back down to earth quite a bit, like we would expect to see with all of these ultra new cards. So interesting card. Love the artwork. Love that it's a sister card. I think it's just a stunner, but I'm certainly not in love with it at $75, even though it's been exchanging hands quite a lot on TCG Player to make the top 10 list. Next one right here is a card that I am in love with. I am absolutely head over heels in love with, and I am extremely bullish on for the long run, and that is the Magikarp from Paldea Evolve. You've heard me say what I'm about to say 4 million times over, but I'll say it one more. Like, it is an absolute stunner of a card. I think the artwork is fire. I love the way the black and the colors just pop on top of each other. The gem rate for this card is abysmally low. It's as low as you will see. It's in the teens, right? Which means out of all of the cards that have been sent to PSA for grading, something like 20% of them actually come back in a PSA 10 gem mint holder, which is absolutely insane. This card is a stunner. It's up at $132. I remember when it hit the $100 plateau, and a lot of people were saying, this isn't a $100 card. It's not going to be able to hold on. Well, maybe when we see some reprints or restocks in the future, maybe we'll see it come back down. But if the print quality remains super low, I think that this could end up being one of the chase cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. Probably not top 3, top 5, maybe top 10, maybe top 20, but I do think that this is going to be a big stunner of a card further down the road. So really exciting to see it. Also exciting to see it come back down off that 140 high. I'm glad to see it hit the 130s again, because that was just a little too hot too soon. Next one right here is Roaring Moon, okay, from Paradox Rift. Roaring Moon has been really flat for like the last 5 months, okay? So this card, it came out. This was supposed to be one of the big chase cards from the Paradox Rift set. Paradox Rift kind of stumbled a little bit. Most of the big cards up there, I mean, this is the #1 card in the set, coming in at $50, $56 right there. So again, we don't see any $80, $100 cards in that set. It's going to be interesting. I know a lot of people share in the comments that they're big fans of Paradox Rift, and I absolutely love that. Booster boxes are still, as I said earlier, in that $95 range, so you can pick this up for a very reasonable amount of money, and booster boxes are very appropriately priced as well in the $95 range. So interesting card, stunning artwork, and we will see what the future holds for Paradox Rift. Now, coming in at number 5, talking about something I did not have on my bingo card for last month was the Greninja card from Twilight Masquerade, popping up to $230. That is absolutely insane. I fully believe that this is going to be, you know, one of the cards from the Scarlet and Violet era, just like we talked about the Magikarp card earlier, but I don't know about $230 this early on. I've started to put together a view of some of the big chase cards from the Sword and Shield era and how they performed over their first year, and spoiler alert, without even showing you the video, without getting getting into the detail and the deep dive that you know I will do when I present that information to you, none of them performed like this. This is just absolutely a complete and total anomaly to see a card pop off like this. Now, I don't think it can hold on, even though the artwork is awesome. I think it's an absolute stunner of a card. It'll be interesting to watch over the next couple months and see where it ends up settling down with. And we talked earlier about how the Twilight Masquerade booster boxes were a little bit higher in price than we typically see this early on. Well, this is one of the big reasons. When you have a card in there, the chase card is going for almost $250. Like, that just organically brings up the price of the booster box. Plus, you got that Carmine card, which is going for $100. You got the Perrin, which is at $75. You got the Eevee, which is at $50. You got a Chansey card in there. Like, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And that explains why these booster boxes are so high. Again, remember, this is brand new. You're looking at a 3-month price chart right here, and it is only halfway filled in, which means the set has only been out for about a month and a half. Don't panic. Don't FOMO. Hold your horses. There's a whole lot of Twilight Masquerade yet to be opened, and there's a whole lot of Greninjas to hit the market, but I do think it's really cool. And to me, even though I don't agree with the price point, I wouldn't pay that much, I think it's very exciting to see that there are so many people out there who are willing to buy this card in the 200 plus price range. Just really exciting. Shows that there's a lot of excitement in the market, and I think it's really cool. So Greninja, number 5, 230 bucks. Didn't have it on my bingo card. Absolutely crazy price for an ultra modern card coming out of the gate. Coming in at number 4, you are going to see a strong run of Paldean Fates here over the next couple cards. So I will go ahead and give you a spoiler right here. Paldean Fates has been doing really, really, really well. Again, this is a set that has been out for about 6 months now. So it has gone through some of the initial Pokemon pop and flop. But what you will see is, yes, there's a pop and flop, but it really starts to level out. A lot of these cards start to find support very early on. And that's interesting because the Paldean Fates set itself, it certainly didn't seem like there was really hard pull rates, right? There were people who were pulling Charizards left and right, but it still doesn't matter. This Charizard card has held in the $120 range over the last, I don't know, five-ish months, which is really, really impressive. It is such a good sign for Paldean Fates. Now, on the left-hand side right there, you'll see the Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box. You'll see that they were going for 160 bucks pre-sale. Then it dropped back down and has been holding in the $70 range. Again, MSRP on that is $59.99, going for $70 on the secondary market right now. If Paldean Fates continues to do well, since it's a specialty set and there's no booster boxes, again, that Pokemon Center exclusive ETB will be the big sealed product for this. So if Paldean Fates can hold on, if these cards can continue to perform well, I really expect that product from a sealed perspective to do really well as well. And this Charizard, hey, super busy, but I'm a big fan of purple. So hey, listen, lots of purple on this card. I think the artwork is stunning. Big, big fan. And again, I'm just really impressed and excited with the way it's been able to hold its water at the $120 mark as long as it has. Coming in at number 3 is the Gardevoir card right here. Again, it has more ups and downs and lefts and rights, but guess what? Gardevoir is a very, very playable character right now, and we all know that, and Gardevoir had a really strong showing at one of the recent tournaments. And listen, hey, 50 bucks for this card. Again, hasn't gone up in price a lot, hasn't gone down in price a lot. Maybe once it rotates out, we will see this thing regress a little bit, but hey, 50 bucks for this card over the span of those many months is really impressive. Coming in at number 3, that is nothing to shake a fist at. Now, the next one that I really love is the Bubble Mew, and this card has been actually on a slow and steady raise really for the last 4.5 months. It's been awesome to watch it do a very steady, very healthy, very organic growth, right? You hear me use those words a lot. Sometimes when I see a card just absolutely pop off, like I'm talking about a 15, 20, 30% price gain over the span of 15 or 30 days, to me, that's not really healthy. That's not organic, but the way this card has been growing in price reminds me of the way we saw, and it's not a fair comparison because the print quality here is so much better, but it reminds me of the way we saw that Magikarp card really slowly grow there for a while. Yes, after about 6 months of slow growth, it finally spiked and then it hit a period of slow growth again, but that is what I like to see. When I see slow growth like that, when I see this really linear line going up, it lets me know that just over time the market is absorbing more and they're more excited about it, and it really is a healthy sign. So this card coming in at number 2, it's an absolute stunner. Again, 3 in a row for Paldean Fates. All 3 of these cards have been on back-to-back months. Just really, really exciting, and I am so pumped to see what the future holds for this set and these incredible cards that are in it. Coming in at number 1 will be, as no surprise to anybody, is the Charizard from 151. Again, another card where we saw a pop and not a whole lot of flop, right? When you look at the price graphs that we have seen as of late, usually it starts off high and it works its way down. The singles card price graph for here, you'll see started at 95, shot up, and then has just been working its way up and down and up and down, really for the last 8 or 9 months now. It has been incredibly impressive to see 151. I will say this, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I do think we're going to see a reprint or restock of 151 as we get closer to the holidays. I think the Pokemon Company would be missing out on a huge opportunity if they don't do that. I think there's a lot of money to be had there. But even with that, I think as long as they don't do the restock or reprint the way that they did the Japanese version where they just absolutely crushed the market with it, I think that will be okay. And additionally, the print quality in the US or in English versions is so much lower than the Japanese variant that will help these singles cards maintain a lot of their price, right? We've seen that the 151 print quality is not very good. We're talking about 30% gem rate across the board, which when you think about the Sword and Shield era, those gem rates were in the 60, high 60, low 70 range. So you just can't even compare them. But really interesting, really love seeing this card. And again, on the left, you see that Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box price. You'll see that it is all the way up to $820 a box. That is what I am talking about. You knew that before that launched, like I've shared with you in my investing video, we talked about that a couple days ago. I said, hey, listen, I am putting some acorns away because when this set drops, I want to make a big position in it, right? And I did that with 151 and I'm doing it with some of the future sets. So sometimes thinking a couple steps ahead of the game really helps you make some great decisions in the future. So we know there's some great sets coming out. Are they going to be as big as 151? Who knows, but 151 has set the bar high. This card has set the bar high, and to be honest with you, this whole list of top 10 cards has just shown how strong and how excited we should be about the market that we're in right now. The Pokemon hobby is in a space like I haven't seen in a long time, and I'm just so incredibly thrilled to be a part of this, and I'm so thankful to have you along with me for the journey. So with all that being said, if you made it to the end and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. If you have questions or comments, drop them down below, and if you like what you see, give us a big old thumbs up. I appreciate you more than I can say. I hope you have an epic one, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, lady.